Welcome back to Making Sense of It All. And when it comes to Black Friday, I have to be honest, this is the one that makes no sense to me. France has heard high inflation. We're paying a fortune for credit cards that we probably shouldn't have. We're going to be buying things that we definitely don't need. And guess what? We're still going to do it. We do not do this well from a financial perspective, but the retailers love us.
The retailers love it. And look, some of the deals are good, Gareth. I'm a sucker
Are they
for a
though?
sale.
Do we
I'm a
know they're
complete
good,
sucker.
though?
So the sage advice, which I never take, I don't know about you, is don't buy anything just because it's on sale, right? And that it goes for anything. But if you're going to buy something, if you've been eyeing something the whole year, I don't know, something that'll cost you a lot of money, then maybe Black Friday can be used to your benefit as well, not only the retailers.
Here's the problem. I don't know if I can tell you what a 55-inch LED 4K espresso making television cost me back in February versus now. I feel like we fall into the trap that just because on the app it says 60% off, I'm supposed to believe that.
Yeah, and this has been done since the beginning of retail, right? The retailers raise their price and then put a huge discount on and it looks good. But you're not using the web correctly because there are some tools where you can actually track the history of an item. And you can see the item across different websites. So compare prices. Just be smart about it. But don't spend money you don't have. You're out on that.
We'll get to that now. You are the oracle of responsible spending.
No,
that was
and I never
unsexy
did.
for Black Friday. What are you watching? What are you buying? I won't tell your husband, but what are you buying that you probably shouldn't?
Look, I don't go to shops on Black Friday. It's
Chaos.
awful. Yeah, I think I did once. I have a thing about decor. So history would say I'm going to buy a carpet.
Yeah, you see, the problem on my side is I put a moratorium. Can I say moratorium? I think I can say moratorium in my house because I'm convinced that our security company, most people have cameras around their houses or whatever. I'm convinced that our local security company believes my home, as a result of my wife, love you, love, is we are a take-a-lot depot center. And I'm fairly certain she's now climbed onto these sort of deals. But it's the take-a-lot, it's the other big retailers that are coming into play. And I wanted to actually ask you, with Walmart having now come in, that's their big thing. Because let's be honest, Black Friday is very much an American trend that we've kind of adopted, or the retailers have thrown at us, and we've just picked it up, haven't we?
Yeah, so I've got some numbers for you because I remember it was 2014 that it was actually introduced. And I actually remember one of the retail execs saying, this is ridiculous. Retailers shouldn't support this. Because remember in South Africa, you used to go Christmas shopping. So you had to buy Christmas gifts. So you would spend the money and then the retailers would go on sale in January. So then what they don't sell at a high cost, they can sell at a low cost.
Clear the shelves,
yeah, but now the retailers, so you say it's good for the retailers, but actually they were a bit worried because it was like, okay, now we have to cut our prices before Christmas. So we won't get that Christmas boost. But I guess everybody's cottoned on and what they don't make in sort of the markup, they're making in volumes because we are seeing that South Africans are becoming addicted to Black Friday. And over time, now we cannot see the retail sales on a certain day. Stats SA doesn't release that data, even though some reported on it last year. I've checked and double checked with them. But what they can do is look at the month of November. And remember, it's basically become like Black November, right? So last year, the sales went up by more than 7%. I'm just trying to look at it, the jump. And then they look at the contribution of November to the year.
Yeah.
So
it's obviously making a massive difference to the economy, which we love. I want to, if I can, because I worry about my credit card. I love the economy. I want the economy to grow. And I know that come next year, March and April, you'll be in Cape Town. We're going to have budget speech. Everything's lovely. I'm worried about my finances and the finances for everyone watching. We aren't very responsible. How many times have you and I done interviews, chatted to each other about the debt crisis in South Africa, and it's the irresponsible spending. I feel like I'm becoming the Grinch of Black Friday, but here I am. I'm the Grinchy. I'm going to Grinch this one. People should not be spending money if, and you said it earlier, that you don't have. And I've seen so many adverts apply for loans, apply for credits. And I don't know if the timing is just clever marketing or it's very specifically targeted to Black Friday. But some could argue it's an irresponsible way of taking on credit ahead of Black Friday.
Yes.
Maybe I'm being a Grinch.
No, I think we should be so careful of taking on credit. People are in debt traps. Our country almost got there, actually, where the hole just becomes so big. And some have crunched the numbers whereby you can land up paying so much interest on your credit card that you can buy something on sale, but in the long run, you're not winning, right?
Actually costs you more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the banks are winning and your mental health is not winning and it's just not worth it. As a nation, we are heavily indebted. In fact, the Reserve Bank was speaking about it recently. Things are a little bit more under control, at least. And the lenders would say there are strict laws. They cannot reckless lend. I was worried about those new offerings, where you can basically buy anything now and pay it off over 6 months with no interest or...
That's how they get you, don't
they?
Yeah,
so everything becomes more affordable now. They say that they're very careful and you have to prove and they watch you and they take on good bets. They will only lend you money if you're a good bet.
Here's what worries me, and I want to land the plane now on the Black Friday thing because I want to talk about another Grinch, that being Donald Trump, in a few moments. I want to land the plane on the Black Friday issue. For me, I would like to hear from you and everyone watching at home in the comments. Is Black Friday a good thing or a bad thing for South Africa in a South African context? Go. I'll give you my opinion.
Wow. That is a hard one.
Only based because of it's so close to Christmas. It's so close to kids going back to school. It's a hard time of year.
Yeah. I think because, and we were talking about this this week with so many people gambling, I think there's a problem for many households come January, right? So technically you could get a deal. Will you get a deal on school clothes? I don't know, but you could on the essentials. So if you're clever about Black Friday, it could be good for you as a household. If the retailers are doing well, let's remember ShopRite is one of the biggest employers in this country. And shopping is overall not a bad thing, right? It's how an economy functions. People get money, they need to go and buy their goods and services, and those companies can create jobs. So we want an economy that is thriving, and we want people to have enough money. People are in a better position this year. There has been some good economic news. And I was just looking at inflation. Okay, inflation was actually lower last year, but it was a very bad year. Remember the cost of living crisis that we've been banging on about? It was bad. But interest rates are looking good. So last year, November, 11.75%. Prime, if you went to the bank and loaned. Now we're at 10.25%. And so your interest rates aren't too bad, and inflation seems to be stabilizing. The bank is very, very confident that we can remain at about 3%. So I don't know if that answers your question, but shopping in itself is not bad.
I want a yes or no. Black Friday, good or bad thing? For Francis Hood.
Good.
It's good. I would like a Black Friday on paying off debt. But now I'm sounding like an old man. Black Friday, pay off your debt, discounts.
Get a 10%. That would be wonderful.
That's what I'm... If the banks are listening, take my advice. I'm not financially literate or financially trained, but that's me. Can we talk about the Christmas Grinch for a moment? Another one. Move away from Black Friday for a moment. Donald Trump decides not to come. He's not going to come to G20. He's completely written us off. And to the point where he has now decided, G20, there's 20 of them, but this one, Donald Trump has decided we as South Africa are not coming to 2026 G20. And on his Truth Social, he's had a bit of a go at us, hasn't he?
He has. And he said that South Africa won't be invited next year, which is just bizarre because, like you say, there are 20 members. And the G20, it's not a hard and fast club, as I understand, with strict rules. They certainly haven't thought of a scenario like this, but things work on consensus. So if somebody is excluded, that should be a majority decision, right? It's not, but Trump does have the power to influence visas going to the US. So this is going to be unprecedented. For me, Gareth, what was amazing was that despite his calls for a boycott, despite the misinformation that Trump gave out about South Africa, most of the world leaders came. They wouldn't have come if there was a genocide being committed in South Africa. They came to the G20 and quietly affirmed South Africa, I think. So we'll see how they respond. That's what I'm really interested in, is what do the other world leaders say if Trump really tries to exclude us next year?
Because if you take a look at what he actually had to say on his Truth Social accounts, just towards the end here, where he talks about, yes, the genocide word coming up again, human rights abuses as well. But he also talks about how our country is not even worthy of a membership anywhere. And this is where I wanted to get your view. And I quote, by the way, I quote from the Trump, they're not worthy of a membership, i.e. South Africa, and we're going to stop all payments and subsidies to them. Now, whether you agree with his politics or not, when Donald Trump right now makes a statement like that, and he didn't attend the G20, which many will argue discredited the G20, but the fact that payments and subsidies, according to him, are going to stop, that's got to keep, I imagine, economists and the government awake at night.
So I'm looking at this closely and maybe more information will come out, right? I was trying to think about the payments and subsidies that we're getting from the US government right now, because remember, they're global lenders, there are private funding companies, they are entitled to do what they want. From the government, there was PEPFAR, which was the Emergency Relief Fund for AIDS. And remember, most of that is gone. Trump did that a while back. That was a huge shock. We're trying to develop AIDS vaccines here on the African continent.
We need to take him seriously, because he threatens,
he
actually does do it.
He did do it. Yeah. There were stories of young kids in line for vaccines, and programs were shut down sort of on the ground because they were told to. So incredible stories. That pain, I think, has been worse for some other African countries. We did feel it. Things have shut down. Government has been looking for alternative funding. The professors involved in amazing research are looking for alternative funders. Yeah. But the US has always been a big money spinner for aid, for relief, for things like that. But let's say most of that is gone. Then we have to talk about AGOA, which you've probably heard again and again this year. AGOA protects us from certain tariffs going into the United States. They're called liberation tariffs. So you could say effectively AGOA is gone, because we used to be protected from tariffs of about 3.4%, and we got zero. So that's a great thing, right? If you're watching every cent, it helps our companies export into the US. But then Trump slapped 30% on anyway. So right now, because AGOA is in limbo, it's been suspended, but then the government shut down, it hasn't been lifted. So we're facing 30% on many goods instead of 33.4%. So that's already going to happen already.
It's going to happen. And as we wrap this up for this week as well, the fact that our president and many people lauding Cyril Ramaphosa at the G20 for not wanting to hand over the G20 presidency to America to, as he called it, a junior official, I imagine ruffled feathers as well. And it's these sort of impacts we're now seeing. So you got Ramaphosa, you got Donald Trump, they're both saying things about each other. It's almost the subtext between the two, but it's having a very real effect as we wrap this up for today.
What I can say, though, is it's not creating panic.
Yes.
Like when the tariffs first came into effect, we now have those tariffs. By the way, some tariffs have gone away because the US needs some of our minerals. Oranges, 0% at the moment because they need our oranges, fruit juices and macadamia nuts. But it's not creating panic. The rand didn't weaken substantially. And I guess the world is seeing, okay, Trump talks about a lot of things. The risk really is sentiment. But investors, I think, are realizing, let's make a decision about South Africa, despite that rhetoric. And so are other world leaders,
and
like I say.
They've realized now that he's going to say a lot of things, and he might do some of them, but the risk is, and the gain, the pro and cons game is he might not do some of it. It's filibustering, isn't it?
Yeah, and everybody around the world, this was important for the G20, was looking for different trade partners because so many countries are reliant on the US economy. We are not fully reliant. It's not huge, but it's huge for some sectors, our winemakers, things like that. But everybody, maybe what's happening is simply a realignment where trade ties will strengthen between other nations, other groupings in the world. And maybe ultimately the US will decline because of that. So, Black Friday, sure, you put me in a hard spot saying it's good for the economy if you are wise, unlike Donald Trump. And that is a wrap of making sense of it all.